I didn't know that this was my child until today. I didn't find out that she was pregnant until 4 or 5 months because she was already in another relationship. She didn't even know who her baby daddy was. If she was pregnant and had chlamydia, I didn't give it to her. So she had to be in another relationship.
States Exhibit 5 indicates what Mr. Ray's monthly gross income calculates to be based on the pay stub he gave to our office this morning. And this is calculated at cash medical being paid at $280 per month, which is just about what he said that his private insurance would cost through his employer. Is that correct, Mr. Ray? You said that the cost of your insurance through your employer would be approximately $140.88 2 times a month?
Given that I picked that plan, yes, ma'am.
At $280 per month. Do you understand, Mr. Ray, that your child support would be at $953 per month? Mr. Ray?
No, ma'am, I do not. No, ma'am, I do not.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Have you provided any support to Ms. Torres for your child since your child was born?
No, ma'am, I didn't know that this was my child until today.
And Eliana was born January 28th, 2023. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, right now, Mr. Ray is answering questions, so please let him answer.
To my knowledge.
I'd like to offer, Your Honor, what's been marked as States Exhibit 3, EX3 Ray Retro.
Does anyone have any objection to me looking at and reviewing Exhibit 3, the X-ray retro, I think she said?
I'm sorry, I was indicating to you, I'm sorry, Judge, Exhibit 3, and that's how.
They need to know what you're trying to admit, so they
Sure.
can know whether to
I'm
object or not.
It's the calculation for retroactive child support judgment.
Ms. Torres, do you have any objection to me looking at and reviewing that document?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and Mr. Ray, do you have any objection to me looking at and reviewing that document?
Yes, ma'am.
What is your legal objection?
The fact that I don't know, I don't get paid that much. So I mean, and I don't know, like, how is it that I owe back child support if I didn't know that I even had a kid? I wouldn't have known that I had a kid unless I went through you all to get a paternity test, because she wouldn't allow me to take a paternity
Objection,
test.
Your Honor. That is not a proper legal objection.
I'm going to sustain the objection. Sir, do you have any legal objection to make? You're going to get a chance to talk and explain your side. But right now is the time to make a legal objection regarding this document and whether it's admissible.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, Your Honor.
I recognize you don't agree with the
calculations
document.
Ma'am?
I recognize that you don't agree with the document, but that's not a legal objection.
Okay, I apologize.
It's okay. I'm going to admit States Exhibit 2, I think, or 3, Exhibit 3.
Thank you, Judge. Share my screen. This is States Exhibit 3, the calculation for retroactive child support judgment, indicating the gross monthly income at $62,5210, which is Mr. Ray's gross monthly based on the year-to-date pay stub that he provided to our office. This indicates his net to be $5,043.32 per month, and this comes to $1,009 per month in child support at 8 months. The total is $8,072 that the state is requesting in retroactive child support. Mr. Ray, is this your understanding that the state is requesting this amount? Mr. Ray?
Okay, so
Can you
no,
see this exhibit, Mr. Ray?
I can see it.
Okay, and you understand that we are requesting that you be ordered to pay $8,072 for the retroactive child support, and that a judgment be taken in that amount.
So is this still not me able to say anything else?
I'm just objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
So you have to answer the questions that are asked of you. At the end of this hearing, both you and Ms. Torres will be given a chance to talk about relevant issues in the case. But right now is the chance that the AG is asking you questions.
All right, okay, I understand that part, ma'am. But what I don't understand is how are we getting these calculations based off of something that I'm telling you is not.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sorry, please listen to the question. And Mr. Feathering, can you ask the question again? I don't remember what it is at this point.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Ray, we were I was questioning you about the retroactive child support amount, asking you if you understand that the state is requesting a retroactive child support judgment be taken and that you be ordered to pay $8,072 for the last 8-month period that is based on a monthly support amount of $1,009, which goes back to the date of birth of your child being January 28th, 2023. And this is based on your gross monthly income of $6,252.10, which was calculated based on the pay stub you gave us, which indicated your year-to-date income as of 9/3/23. Do you understand that, sir?
I understand.
And as far as the possession and access of that you will be ordered to have with your daughter, you were previously in agreement with a phased in visitation schedule. Is that correct?
What do you mean by phased in?
Did you not agree to a phase 1 of 4 visits with your daughter, first, third, and fifth Saturdays from 1 to 5 o'clock, supervised?
Were there any other?
That's the phase 1, sir. With the phase 2 being 4 visits, first, third, and fifth Saturdays from 1 to 5 o'clock, unsupervised. A phase 3 of 4 visits from 9 to 5, first, third, and fifth Saturdays. A phase 4 visits from the first, third, and fifth Saturday at 6 p.m. to Sunday at 6 p.m. At that time, when the child is approximately 3 years of age, the standard possession order would go into effect. Is that not your agreement, sir?
Yes.
And you agreed that the first 4 visits, Saturday from 1 to 5, would be supervised, correct?
I do not agree.
You are not agreeing now that it be supervised.
I am, like I was explaining to you earlier,
That's a yes or no, sir.
well, what is the other option is what I'm asking you.
I will ask you questions. That's a yes or no answer we're requesting of you, sir. Do you want that? Are you agreeable to that possession and access being supervised for the first 4 visits on Saturdays 1 to 5 o'clock?
So my question is, if I don't want to be supervised.
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
Sustained, sir. To make this quicker, you either have an agreement or you want a hearing. This is not the time to negotiate. If you want a hearing, that's fine. No one can force you to agree to anything. But you're in front of the judge now, which is me. And so you either have an agreement, and if you don't, that's fine. You have a hearing, you both explain your positions. I hear what you have to say, and I end up deciding what your visitation is. That's kind of how it works at this point. So you either agree or you don't agree. The AG obviously thought you agreed. If you've changed your mind or you never agreed, either of those are fine. We just need to know. Kind of like I said in the beginning, I just need to know what you do agree to and what you don't, so I know what issues I need to listen for, so I know what I'm ruling on.
I agree. I agree.
Sure?
I agree.
Because you can have a hearing. It didn't sound like you agreed a minute ago.
Your Honor, I can ask him questions on this issue. I plan to. Mr. Ray, have you visited with your daughter since her birth earlier this year, January 28th, 2023?
Yes.
On how many occasions?
2.
When is the last time that you saw your daughter?
If you give me a second, I can go back to the messages and find out.
No, sir, you don't remember? Is that what you're saying? You don't remember when you last saw your daughter?
She's 8 months old.
Okay.
8 months old, and I have not seen her but 2 times, and that's 8 months. There's no way that I'll be able to tell you that whenever.
Was it a month ago? Approximate
was,
for me. 2 months ago, 3 months ago?
If she's 8 months, then I saw her maybe at 2 months, a month and a half.
Where did you see her? Do you remember that?
Once at her mother's house and once at my mother's house.
When you saw her at her mother's house, what period of time did you spend with your daughter?
Maybe 4 or 5 hours.
Do you have any other children, sir?
No, ma'am.
Are you agreeable if the judge orders supervised visits for Ms. Torres and Anna Galicia to supervise visits at her home?
No, ma'am, I'm not.
You're not in agreement?
No, ma'am, I'm not in agreement.
What would you suggest if the court would order supervised visits?
Was that the aunt you were asking about?
Ma'am, yes, Your Honor.
Ma'am,
I was just
Ms.
confirming
Torres.
that name was her aunt because it's been a while since we heard it.
Mr. Ray, you're not in agreement with Anita Galicia, who is Ms. Torres' aunt, to supervise the visits if the judge orders supervised visits.
no, ma'am.
Do you have a suggestion for who the judge should order to supervise your visits?
Are you asking? I'm not understanding the question.
Who would you suggest to supervise your visits if they are ordered to be supervised?
Maybe you need to rephrase your first question because it had two parts to it. It was both the aunt supervising and someone supervising. I'm not sure what part he objects to.
I would thank you, Judge.
And maybe that's why he's
Mr. Ray.
confused.
If the court does order supervised visits with your child, who would you suggest to supervise those visits?
Of
A relative of yours or a Ms. Torres?
mine.
Do you have a particular relative in mind that you're suggesting?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is that?
My grandmother,
What is her name?
Essie Ray. That's Essieray.
I have nothing further for this witness at this time, Your Honor.
Okay.
I would like to recall Ms. Torres, if I may.
You may call her.
Ms. Torres, is it correct that you requested Anita Galicia, your aunt, to supervise any visits between Mr. Ray and your daughter?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know Miss Essie Ray?
No, ma'am. I've met her a couple of times, but I don't personally know her.
Do you think Miss Essie Ray would be an appropriate person to supervise visits?
No, ma'am.
Why is that?
I just felt like the baby should be with someone that she's familiar with and comfortable with. That was the whole reasoning for the supervised visits.
Okay. Has Miss Galicia, does she have a relationship with your child, Eliana?
Yes, ma'am.
When is the last time Miss Galicia saw Eliana?
She's actually with her right now.
Okay. And to your knowledge, could this visitation occur at Miss Galicia's residence?
Yes, ma'am. She has a separate playroom for the baby.
Okay, Miss Galicia has agreed to do this at her home?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, we've lost you. Are you still there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, try to keep the camera on you, just like in court. Everyone would be visible. Okay.
Thank you, Judge. How long has it been since Mr. Ray has seen his daughter?
It's been at least 7 months, 6, 7 months.
Do you recall how long that last visit, what period of time was that visit?
Well, the first visit was allowed at my house for a couple of hours, but the visit at his mother's house, he was not supposed to be present. I wasn't even aware that he was supposed to be there. And when I did arrive there, I was called to pick her up because he was kicking the baby out of the house because he said that she wasn't his.
And when was that approximately?
That was approximately when she was about 2 months, so about February. February was the last that he's seen her.
And is that incident, I mean, do you consider that incident as one of the reasons that you're asking for supervision?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you think supervised visits are appropriate for 4 visits or more for his first phase?
I would prefer more just because she's kind of old enough now. She's recognizing who we are. She knows where she's at, her surroundings.
How many visits would you want to be in phase 1? The supervised Saturday from 1 to 5?
I would prefer at least 10.
Okay. So then the second phase would be Saturday 1 to 5 unsupervised. And you're comfortable with that occurring after 10 visits in phase 1?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
you have to answer out loud and not just shake your head because
Yes,
the
ma'am.
recording won't
Yes,
pick that
ma'am.
up. Okay, thank you.
And then you are comfortable with the standard possession order going into effect when the child is approximately 3 years of age?
Yes, ma'am.
And that is given Mr. Ray exercises every visit set out in these phases, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So we're looking at phases until February of 2025. If we do 10 initially,
I thought that the original proposal took him to about 3 years old. Is that not accurate?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm sorry. 2026, I apologize.
Well, no, because you're now saying 10 periods gets him to 3. So I'm
Mom
confused.
is now asking for that, for the 10 visits in
How old
phase
would the
one.
child be with the 10?
If there were 10 in each phase, approximately 40, depending on how first, third, and fifth fall. And we would need 10 visits in the first phase. If it were ordered, 40 visits. I mean, that would take us 3 years and 4 months in the future. So the child would be almost 4 at that point. Ma'am, are you requesting that each phase be 10 visits now, or just the initial?
No,
phase
ma'am,
of
just the
supervised?
first, just the initial one. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then phase 2, 1 to 5, if we did 4 visits with that until he moves on to all day Saturdays.
Yes, ma'am.
And then the phase 3, another 4 visits.
Yes, ma'am. That's fine.
That would be approximately 2 years and 4 months from now. Would you want him to do the Saturday 9 to 5 all day before he goes to the Saturday at 6 to Sunday at 6?
Yes, ma'am, please.
So, Your Honor, do you think, ma'am, that would be in the best interest of your child, Eliana?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you think all of the issues we have brought up in this hearing, all of your testimony, what you're requesting from the court, would be in the best interest of your daughter?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I have nothing further for this witness.
Do you have any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor, just reserve a couple of minutes for a brief closing.
Sir, I have a question. Medical insurance got discussed, but nobody brought up dental insurance. Did that cost include dental insurance, Mr. Ray?
Ma'am,
Do you know if your company provides dental insurance as well?
they do provide dental insurance. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the cost that you told us, I can look at the 140.98 twice a month. Did that include dental insurance?
I wasn't given enough time to look over that. Is there something that is there a way that I'll be able to get that information back to you at a later date?
If we do a temporary order, that can happen. Okay. So the state doesn't represent either of you. Is there anything else either one of you would like to say? Mr. Ray, I'll start with you.
Yes, ma'am. So again, back to the rates that were given, it doesn't add up as far as what I make. And this job that I have is only going to be temporary. I was pulled over to this department just for this reason, because the job required extra work. So those hours are overtime hours. And if I was to have to pay $1,000 a month, there's no way that I would be able to work 7 days till the baby was 18 years old.
So last year, did you work this same job at the company?
Last year, I was in a different department. I'm only in this department right now because the job required extra hands and I was picked.
Okay.
So again, there's no way that moving forward that I would be able to do that, because this job is going to be ending.
You know what?
That I don't. It shouldn't be no more than about a month or two.
What are they having you do with this job?
Sorry?
What are they having you do? What were you pulled to do?
Process materials.
What do you usually do?
I'm a driver.
Okay, so what are they having you do now? Are you still driving?
No, ma'am. Right now, I'm not currently driving. I am processing materials.
And why will it stop?
The job will be over.
There'll be no more materials to process?
Not for that job. No, ma'am.
Will there be another set of materials to process for a different job?
I will be going back to being a driver after this. I just started this in, I believe, May. So it's only been about 4 months. But everything past that, which is why I was trying to get my other income tax forms to you, you'll see a consistent level of pay.
When do you think this job will stop, or this assignment will stop?
No past October, November, maybe sooner than that.
Is there anything else you want to say?
Yes, ma'am. It was said that I've only seen the baby twice, and the reason being is because the first time that I seen the child, it was brought to my attention and I was able to see the child. I hadn't spoken to the mother since the child was born, and she wouldn't accept any of my phone calls. She blocked me. There was no way for me to set up a private paternity testing because we weren't talking. The second time that the first time at the end of the first meeting or whatever you want to call it, I had told her prior to me getting there that because we hadn't talked since the baby had been born, that I had went ahead and filed for a paternity test through the Attorney General. And shortly after I told her that, she told me that, okay, well, since you did that, you can't see the baby until we go to the Attorney General, which is why I went and did what I had to do. And the second time that I seen the kid was my mother's house. And again, she told me that I couldn't see the kids, that I couldn't see the baby, but my mother could see the baby. Apparently, she dropped the baby off at her house. And when I spoke to my mother about it, I had a lot of concerns because she had been playing basically this whole game as far as it's not her, it's me. And after that is when she came to pick up the baby. And when she picked up the baby, I definitely told her that she needed to go ahead and take the baby. Her and the baby needed to get out, and that we will go through the courts in order to figure out this, because there was no way that I was going to continue to let her pretty much play my mother. And my mother didn't know any of the details concerning our situation. So the fact that she was doing that, it didn't sit well with me. So I didn't really get to see the baby that day because of that. And I haven't spoken to her or seen the baby since that day.
Okay. And Ms. Torres, is there anything else you'd like to say?
I just wanted to say that I did give him the option to come to the delivery. I gave him the option to come sign the birth certificate. He declined both. I gave him the option for a private DNA test, paternity test, which I have text messages to prove that he told me he got one, and I never heard anything else from him. So I just didn't bother with it. He let me know that he filed with the Attorney General. I did let him know that it was going to be a long process because I've been through it before. I have a 9-year-old son. And I was just going to let it go through the courts.
Your Honor, can I say something?
You may.
So, kind of lost train of thought there. Sorry. She stated that the paternity test was available. Nothing was available, and the reason why I wasn't at the birth of the child is because she told me that she didn't need me and the baby didn't need me, and a lot of other nasty stuff that I also have receipts to, text messages, which is why I haven't been involved. And given our history, there's never been a point to where we can come to an agreement or a cordial conversation. So to avoid any conflict or back and forth between her and I decided to go this route, which was contact the Attorney General.
So are there any members of her family that you are familiar with?
No, ma'am. None of her family members like me. I don't know half of them. And especially not her mom and dad, because in the beginning,
You don't need to go into details, sir. They didn't even come up as options, so I don't need to hear details on that issue. And ma'am, are you familiar with any of his family members?
Yes, ma'am.
Which ones are you closest to, or are there any you're close to?
It was his mother until we had the incident.
You all had an incident? Okay.
Where he said that he kicked us out of the house. So ever since then, I never talked to her again.
Sir, have you had any words with her aunt?
I don't even know who that is.
Okay, so you haven't fought with her at all? You don't know her?
No, ma'am. Can I say something else, Your Honor?
Very briefly, sir.
Okay, I didn't find out that she was pregnant until 4 or 5 months because she was already in another relationship. So whenever I got the news, it was pretty much just, it is what it is. She didn't even know who her baby daddy was.
Judge, I'm going to object to any further remarks, negative remarks in nature by Mr. Ray.
Okay, that was relevant though to back child support.
Thank you.
Well, Your Honor,
Try
if
not to
that
say
was- can I
disparaging
say
things
something?
about each other, though. I mean, if you can word things without being negative towards each other, I would appreciate that. Ms. Torres, did you have anything you wanted to say?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor. He was actually present at my house the day before I went into labor, and I have messages stating that. So we were in relations prior to this. I didn't find out until I went to the doctor that I was actually pregnant. I went for a well woman's exam, and I have the results to prove it.
Was there another possible father?
No, ma'am.
Your Honor, can I say something?
Yes.
So when I found out that she was pregnant, she told me that I needed to go get tested because she was contracted with chlamydia. And I already knew.
Sir, is this relevant to?
Yes, very, very much so. Very
Okay,
much
because
so.
remember, we're not just trying to disparage people.
I'm not,
Okay.
absolutely. And the fact that, like I said, she told me that I was the last person that had unprotected sex with her and that I needed to go get checked. I went and got checked and I did not have chlamydia. So if she was pregnant and had chlamydia, I didn't give it to her. So she had to be in another relationship, right?
There's a few other medical options, but okay. I'm going to make my ruling. We're going to do a temporary order in this case. The first thing I'm going to do is order both of you to take a parenting class. It sounds like it's been rocky getting to this point, for whatever reasons, things happen in the past. You're obviously not together anymore. And so in moving forward, I think a parenting class might help to move past some of all that, which we heard some of today, and maybe start focusing more on Eliana, because whatever happened in the past happened, but the result is Eliana, and she's here, good, bad, or indifferent. And I'm sure she's 8 months. So lots of time for everyone to get involved in her life and be a parent. And I think the parenting class might help get you to that point for both of you. You don't have to like each other necessarily. Hopefully you'll learn to work together though, because at the end of the day, it's a lot of work raising a child, and she's going to need both of you, and you're going to need both of each other to help do it. So I'm ordering a parenting class. It should hopefully help through some of these emotions and anger, which are all very valid. A lot's gone on, but to help get past some of those things, I think it will be helpful. I'm going to establish the parent-child relationship, sir, between you and Eliana, and name you the father. And I'm going to change her name to Torres/Ray. I'm going to approve and order the joint managing conservatorship, with you, ma'am, having that geographic restriction to Galveston and contiguous counties. So you'll get to decide where she lives within those counties. For visitation, I'm going to order the phase-in visits that were proposed. I'm going to do 4 supervised visits on the first, third, and fifth Saturday from 1 to 5. It will be supervised by Ms. Torres's aunt. It's only 4 visits, sir. It's an 8-month-old. It's not about you necessarily. It's about Eliana. She's 8 months, and at that age, kids do start recognizing people and not knowing people. And so hopefully in those 4 visits, you will become someone she knows, and it'll make it easier for everybody. And so 4 visits, 1 to 5, supervised by her aunt. And then from there, it'll go to the phase 2, the first, third, and fifth Saturday, 4 unsupervised visits from 1 to 5. And then after that, phase 3 will be 4 visits on the first, third, and fifth Saturday of each month from 9 to 5. And after that, it'll be phase 4, 4 visits on the first, third, and fifth Saturdays from 6 p.m. Saturday to 6 p.m. Sunday. Sorry about that. And then it'll be the standard possession order. You will all most likely be back before me for final trial, though, way before it gets to that. So if there are any issues with this visitation plan, good or bad, you might say, we don't need all this. You might say, we need more, who knows? And so it can be addressed again when you come back for final trial if there are any issues that come up either way, good or bad. And then I'm going to order, right now, I'm going to order child support so that you order to pay $9.45 a month. I'm specifically doing this as a temporary order, honestly, mostly because of your pay issue. If you are just on a temporary project and you come back and you're off that project in a few months, we looked at. So we can look again at that time to see where you are with your work schedule and where you are with your job. So please bring information, any information you have about your salary to the final trial.
And when will this be?
One moment.
Okay.
Let me finish with all this and then we're going to get to dates, because just because I have a date in mind doesn't, someone could be giving birth that day or out of the country, so it could change. So current child support, you're ordered to pay $9.45 each month beginning October 1st of 2023. I'm ordering that the health insurance and dental insurance are through your job, sir. I did guesstimate a cost of $35 a month for dental insurance. Please bring dental insurance information with you to final trial. And if anything changes about the health insurance, bring that back too, so we can accurately calculate all this. This will give you a chance to look at all that and make sure you got all your ducks in a row with the health and dental insurance. Since we heard a lot about back child support today, I'm going to rule on it today. I'm going to order back child support from date of birth to now of $7,000. And I'm going to order $60 each month towards that back child support beginning October 1st, 2023. I'm denying the non-disclosure request. I'm going to reserve court costs. And I was thinking you all would come back December 4th of 2023, 9 a.m.
Yes, ma'am, that sounds fine.
Okay, does anyone have any plans on December 4th of 2023? If you need to look at a calendar, please do so. And that is a Monday.
I don't have
Your
anything.
Honor, with the parenting class, are you giving us a specific class to take, or do we need to find one?
Judge Baker, if I may,
Yes.
I have pulled the list of parenting classes from the 306
Perfect.
Judicial Court website, and I can attach that to the order.
Please do that. Yeah.
Okay,
And if
thank you.
you all lose that, it is on, if you Google the 306, which is the court this is out of, they do have a link to that as well, but she'll attach it to the order. So but
Okay.
the links might take you directly to their websites if it might be easier.
Okay.
And that is it. Does anyone have any other questions?
When does the visitation start? Does it start immediately?
Yes, whatever the first, third, or fifth week. So yeah, this weekend is the third Saturday. So yeah, it will start on the 16th.
This weekend? Yes, ma'am.
And we will see where everything is in
So,
December.
Your Honor, if that changes as far as me working and going back to what I was originally doing, if that changes, how would I be able to make that or bring that up if that happens before December?
Unfortunately, you won't. So we'll have to just, I tried to set it far enough that because I didn't want to set it before it happened, because it doesn't sound like it's happening tomorrow.
Well, I said that because I'm not certain and I haven't asked. I just, like I said, I just wake up and go to work. But again, those numbers are from me working 6 to 7 days a week.
I understand, sir. And that's why that's why I did a temporary order and didn't finalize this today. But all I can do is guesstimate. You're free to consult a lawyer to see if you have other options, but that is my ruling today. The Attorney General's office is going to draft up an order based on my ruling, and they're going to have you go back to the breakout rooms so that you can review and sign off on them through DocuSign. Thank you for coming in today, and good luck
Thank you,
going
Judge.
forward.
The guy makes over $100,000 a year. My client makes $800 a month.
She locks up all of the food, the toiletries, and requires him to bring food for himself and the children 3 nights a week.
But he's just stopping over for 10 minutes here and there, and it is disruptive to the family. It's disruptive to the kids.
However, Miss Garcia literally locks up the toilet paper.